Good evening and welcome to the Monday, November 9, 2015 Board of Education meeting. This is, of course, our first meeting after the elections of last week, so following the Pledge of Allegiance, we will have an administration of the oath of office. So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I know we're working on actually a sound system in this room. I know that we've got to project a little bit, and we've asked to try to get something set up so that the speakers in the ceiling will be working, but right now the microphones are just for the tape. We are honored to have Judge James Kenefick, Judge of the Superior Court of many years, and also a very long-time member of this board, including as chairman for many, many years, here to administer the oath of office. And we are very pleased and honored to have you with us. I'd like to ask you, please, to go to the podium and ask our newest member, Christine Cohen, and if members of her family want to join her, that's fine too. If you would please join Judge Kenefick.
I just would like to thank you for having me back. It's been 20 years since I've been off the board. Wow. It doesn't seem possible. And I must say, this board has continued the tradition of the boards in the past that you've worked very well for the students of this town. And I'm very pleased with what I see in this high school. It's amazing. What a nice job. You're doing very good work.
Thank you.
Christine H. Cohen, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the Office of Board of Education to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Like Dr. Kathleen Balistraci, please.
Kathleen M.B. Balistraci, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the Office of Board of Education to the best of your abilities, so help you God? Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And Attorney Gary Kazin.
No crowd? Raise your right hand. Gary C. Kazin, do you solemnly swear that you support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the Office of Board of Education to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations. And last but not least, raise your right hand. Do you, William M. Blast, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the Office of the Board of Education to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is election of officers. We do have a policy requirement that the balloting be in writing. However, we also have a portion of our bylaws that allows us to suspend the policies for discrete purposes if we choose to. And I don't know if is there any application to proceed by voice vote, or would we prefer to go by
I'd like to move that we proceed by voice vote.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Then is there a motion to elect a chairman?
I nominate Bill Bloss.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And is there a nomination for a vice chair?
I nominate Alan Myers.
I second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And is there a nomination for secretary?
I nominate Sue Renner for secretary.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I think we appreciate, I think, if I don't want to speak on behalf of all three, but I appreciate the confidence that the rest of the board has shown in all three of us, and certainly look forward to continuing the work that we've been doing for the last several years. So I know that we've got who is here on a specific issue? I know the youth mentoring people are here, right? Why don't we move that? I'm
Well, the
sorry.
students really need, they have some other things they need to work on tonight, so
Oh.
if we could go ahead and do the student reports, and then we can move other things.
And I should note, by the way, Dr. Freeman is not here tonight, and that's because he is at a meeting of the Connecticut Association of Schools, where Guilford Lakes School is being recognized as the outstanding elementary school of the year in the state of Connecticut. So Dr. Freeman thought that was a good use of his time to go there, and so we certainly concurred with that. So Dr. Keene and Mr. Bowden will be here representing the administration. So we'll be happy to turn to you. What is it that you have that's...
Sounds good. Speaking of Guilford Lakes, the Thanksgiving food drive is starting up at their school right about now, where they have food come in and they give it to the food bank, which is a very good way to help our community inside our own schools. And recently there have been many visits to Guilford Lakes, such as visits from people who work at the Mystic Aquarium, teaching the children about marine life, and then also a former Guilford Lakes graduate in a Marine came to talk to the students about choices and commitment and service, which I believe all students found very enlightening, and as well as a firefighter talking about many of the similar topics. And on Halloween, they celebrated Black and Orange Day, which all the students got dressed up in their black and orange attire and had a very good time. And then Red Ribbon Week was celebrated last Thursday with a whole school-wide assembly. And Fall Family Fun Fest went very well. I remember that was one of my favorite points of being at Guilford Lakes. And Spanish Heritage Month was celebrated last year, where the students learned about Spanish culture throughout the world. And then at Melissa Jones, there was a math night on Thursday where there is math, fun, and games at Melissa Jones from 6 to 7. If any of you want to attend to have some math fun. They have to see concepts and skills in action at that, and so many students are very excited for that. And the second graders are beginning to read informational text as well as writing opinions about how to eat healthy. And the kindergartners are reading books about growing, since they are all growing, in fact. And
We hope.
and they're really enjoying that. So.
And I spoke to Mr. Grimm from Calvin Late, and he told me about how their school-wide focus is transitioning from literacy to mathematics, and this specifically includes kindergarteners who are investigating numbers from 1 to 10, first graders who are learning how to show their thinking when solving addition problems, second grade students who are developing a deeper understanding of place values of 3-digit numbers, third graders who are working on fractions using a variety of visuals and hands-on models, and lastly, the fourth grade students are learning about ratio and proportion by researching size and number of handicap spaces in the parking lot of the school. And now moving on to our high school, I know everyone's very excited about the new building, but at the same time there's also a great deal of progress being made in taking down the old building, because I'm sure everybody noticed the gym is nearly gone right now, and there's little inconvenience with that in regards to, just driving in and getting around. And we were even able to have homecoming in the gym of this building this weekend. And I know a lot of people worked really hard to make that a successful night. And I know the class officers and advisors and many teachers came and spent a lot of the day there just planning it and setting it up. And it was a fun night, I think. And then moving on to sports, a lot of the fall sports are concluding their regular seasons and moving on to the postseasons. Boys and girls soccer, boys and girls soccer and volleyball and field hockey all advanced onto the states tournament. I know I just came from a soccer game today, and we won our first round, so we'll be going into the next round on Wednesday. And boys cross country already had their state meet, and they won first place in the class double M, and the girls placed in the top 10. And then once fall sports conclude as a whole, then we're moving on to winter sports, and so everybody's kind of just preparing for that right now by getting all the forms in and signing up and doing what they need to do. And next we have the play. We're very far into the rehearsal process of Arcadia, which is why Mark was unable to attend today. And that will be this weekend, actually, starting November 12th. And I know they're working very hard on that, and everyone's very excited to do that in the new Performing Arts Center. And if anyone would like to purchase a ticket, they can get that at ghsta.weebly.com. And then once the play is over, the play is over, we will have the musical West Side Story. And Mark is actually the lead in that. I think he's Tony. So that's pretty impressive. And then given that right now is the middle of December, there are two very important events happening. Quarter one just ended, so report cards are going to be given out to students as grades just closed the other day. And that'll be happening within the next week. They'll be distributed during the classroom. And right now, seniors are continuing with the college process. Many people have just applied early. I know I just applied to 6, and I think Mark applied to 2. And so more people are going to continue doing this over the next 2 months. And this will just be by writing applications, doing essays, and getting college recommendations. And that's all I really have. Thank you.
And so then recently Interact had their fundraising pasta night, which is annual, and our principal, Mr. Masseni, came in first place in the pasta eating contest with 7 plates. He was,
7 what?
7 plates of pasta.
Really?
I wouldn't expect anything less of him.
So we're very proud of the effort he put forth. And then our Action Against Hunger club, they have started their food drive at just like Guilford Lakes. And also happening recently was the IB consultant came to our high school to see how things were going, and I believe the process went very well. And Mr. Freeman, well, if he was here, could speak more to that. And then also, just in regards to the new high school, students, it's just so easy to notice that students are respecting this high school so well with all its amazing facilities. When you go to the internet cafes and you see how the library is upheld and commons, everything is just being treated respectfully, and it's helped us all so much with this new high school, just the entire learning process, and just coming to school is so much easier with this well-lit, bright, happy place where you want to be. And also, recently we have ended our announcements in the morning, which are all being posted on the TV screens you see around. So if you have an issue or need to see, like, if you're being called anywhere, you just look up on the board and see your name and go to that respective area. And also, all of our concerts have kicked off in the auditorium, which all the brand new auditorium, all the concerts starting there for the first time. They all went extremely well. I know in my concert choir, it went very well, and the space is just fantastic while you're up there. It's amazing to see how many people are in there, and it just feels so much different than the old auditorium. And then this high school has just forced everyone from the principal to the teachers to the students to raise our game, because it's just so much easier to learn in here, and so much we just need to make it better since we have such a great space that everyone needs to push more together to work harder.
Terrific. Thank you very much. This is your first meeting with us, so I'm sorry. I should have asked you to introduce yourself and tell us a little about you and what you're thinking about for college.
My name is Madison Panagoulias. I'm a senior, and right now I'm kind of just transitioning into the start of senior year. It's a lot different than the past because I'm looking at colleges. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do, but probably something math and science related. And along with that, right now I'm on the soccer team, and I'll be going into the gymnastics team, or team as in me and 2 other people, in the winter. So that's kind of what I'm up to at the moment.
Congratulations on your win today.
Thank you.
Good.
Is gymnastics an official team of the high school?
We compete as individuals, and we kind of link on to another team at Valley Regional High School. So we're not actually a team, but we get to compete like as individual gymnasts.
Good.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any? Okay, well, appreciate your report. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so I know we have people from the from the youth mentoring program. Are there other people here for any specific topic, or is that primarily it? All right, why don't we go ahead and move item 10.1 up on the agenda up to this point under superintendent's report, and who's taking the lead on the mentoring presentation? Go ahead, please.
That's your cue. Somebody's phone, or is that? Barbara, you're always accompanied by music.
So before we get started, let me introduce Barbara Solomon. And Barbara, I think, is going to have also some support with Lisa Ott and Simona Neri. They have been part of the mentoring program here in Guilford Public Schools for some time. And they're giving a report to us tonight just about how the program is going and some of the things that they have accomplished. I know that many of you have received their newsletters and have participated in their annual whatever we call
national.
it, like this, yeah,
Our
the
national.
dinners and the appreciation events that have gone on. We have quite a few mentors. So I'm going to turn it over to Barbara.
It's a very special night for us here tonight, watching you be sworn in. And it was very special to be here. And I thank all of you for all the good work that you do in facilitating the growth and progress of our schools. So it's really a good night to be here. In January of 2000, Charlie O'Malley and Margaret Livingston, with 10 other Guilford Savings Bank staff members, worked with Guilford High School guidance, special services staff, and Principal Marilyn Sturgis to launch the Guilford Youth Mentoring Program. They're some of the early Guilford Savings Bank mentors. Last school year, 160 Guilford Youth mentors met with 166 students at all 7 schools in the district every week for 1 hour at a time, or more sometimes, making a significant difference in the lives of their mentees, other students, staff, administration, and families. And as Joe had just put up the slide, 160 mentors, it translates to about 6,000 hours of volunteer service every year from the mentors. It's a pretty significant volunteer commitment. And they're very special people. A lot of them are here tonight. Thank you very much for inviting us here tonight to share with you an exciting transition in our program of 15 years, a transition of leadership to Lisa Ott and Simona Nerney, who just happened to be up on the PowerPoint, and a transition to our offices in this gorgeous building, this beautiful building, which really enables us to expand the program at the high school and throughout the district. We'd like to welcome the members of the Guilford Youth Mentoring Board here with us tonight, and if you guys would just stand up a second. It's an advisory support group who've helped us grow the program, and without whom we could not have grown the program. Thanks, guys. We'd also like to thank some other mentors here tonight who came to support us and appreciate your coming as well. The mentors truly are the heart of our program. And without the mentors, there simply would not be a program. Mary Beeman was sitting perhaps not right here, since she was in another building, but she was sitting as a member of the Board of Ed 7 years ago and volunteered to mentor on that very night. Mary's still a mentor with that same girl at the high school 7 years later, and is one of our ACE recruiters. And Mary advised us to pass out some applications here tonight and encourage you to join us yourselves if you can, or if not, to talk with your friends, your neighbors, would you just pass around, your colleagues, your family, anyone who you think would be a good mentor, a caring mentor to a student, and invite them, encourage them to call us, to contact us. We continually need additional caring mentors. At this very time, at this very moment, and it's early in the school year, we have 15 students waiting for mentors. And certainly that number is going to grow as the school year goes on. I've been fortunate to direct this program for the past 15 years at Guilford High School and throughout the district, and Joe found these pictures. And even more fortunate to share the coordination of the program for the last 7 years with
You
Lisa.
gotta wait and take a little bit of applause here, Bob.
Gee, I love the spelling of that, Grandpama. That's my name. I'm going to be a Grandpama.
Copyrighted.
Thank you, Joe. As I was saying, I've been very fortunate to share the coordination for the past 7 years with Lisa and Simone and Ernie, Lisa Ott and Simone and Ernie, who are not only talented, capable, and creative professionals, but are absolutely committed to the cause of Guilford Youth Mentoring and have been a joy to work with for the past 7 years. I hope you'll let me keep coming in volunteering. So go on. Lisa as coordinator and Simona as assistant coordinator are directing the entire program this fall, and the resounding and enthusiastic feedback from administrators, staff, mentors has been that they're doing a terrific job and that it's been a seamless transition, which is what we've been working for these many years. Lisa McDougald, back behind Lisa, is the newest member of our team. Started out as a Baldwin mentor and is now our tech guru, using technology to streamline our operations so that we can spend time with the students, the staff, and the mentors, which is what we really want to do. Joe Goldberg, here with us tonight, a mentor for 14 years to 5 or 6 different students.
They keep leaving.
Chairman of the GYM board, and now a mentor here at the high school with his freshman mentee, who he's been with since 3rd grade, and now the boy is taller than all of us. Joe always provides the photos and the slides that really capture the essence of our program and really make our program come to life. He's our Steven Spielberg, Goldberg. Mary Rapetti, sitting next to Joe, is a graphic designer who has helped us put together this presentation tonight, but also has lent her significant talents to several of our other projects. And we thank Mary, and she's also a mentor. We thank Mary as well. What is Guilford Youth Mentoring? The eloquent words of Liz Mancini, Lake's social worker, say it better than any formal definition. This program not only helps kids who've been through major turmoil, it's benefited the child who just hasn't connected to school yet, who sees school as a tremendous burden or a place where they just don't fit in. Children who have, it's benefited the child who's a little quirky, who needs a safe place to practice new social skills. Children who've been difficult behaviorally settle into better patterns. Children who are not motivated to take risks with their learning start to give more effort and find success. Everyone does better when they know unconditionally that they matter, and this is what our program does. It brings the invisible child into view. Many of the early founders of our program are still with us. Tom Terabile, on the original advisory board, has been a mentor for 14 years. mentored several students, and now in retirement is once again mentoring a student at Adams. It's a great picture of Tom. Gene Bishop, our one-man 8th grade mentoring program at Adams in 2001, has mentored students all through the district, and now is starting over as a 2nd grader at Melissa Jones this year. We hope he'll make it to high school this time. We couldn't have done it without our community partners. Small businesses, community organizations, individuals who joined as mentors and provided not only that mentoring service, but also all kinds of other support for our program. Too many wonderful partners to list, but I'd like to point out just a few. The Guilford Savings Bank was our original founding partner in 2000, and it's been a major source of mentors for us and continual support. Over the years, 40 Guilford Savings Bank staffers have mentored, some for more than 10 years, some for more than a dozen years. Stone Agency is another hero of our mentoring program, with both principals Doug Danaher, who is here, and Rob Oman, who are longtime mentors, and their agency has close to 100% staff participation, which is a pretty impressive commitment for a small business. Thank you, Doug. And the Guilford Rotary Club, with 19 Rotarian mentors, many who've mentored again for over a decade, and at least one Rotarian is here, Suzanne Locke, perhaps. Oh, and Reef, how can I forget Reef? If I forget anyone, just yell. We've been lucky over the years to have received recognition on a state and local level. And regularly, the Connecticut Mentoring Project refers programs around the state to us for consultation and featured us as their program of the month, the model program of the month in their spring 2015 newsletter, which is in the packet that you have before you. But the most important recognition for us has always been the feedback from staff and administration, the principals who are here, from teachers, from social workers, and from the students and the families themselves who tell us, who continually remind us how important mentoring is to them, has been to their family. The power and significance for the individual has always been for us the major recognition. I'll end my segment of our presentation with quotes from several of our students. That's Peter Palumbo and the group of Baldwin building, and Tom Tibbo building the basketball court at Baldwin many years ago. The first quote is a senior boy with his mentor since 7th grade at Adams. I started in mentoring in the 7th grade. I wasn't the most accepted kid, and it was hard for me to find friends. When I began to meet with my mentor, however, I felt more secure, knowing that I had a friend that I could talk with no matter what. And I think that's the essence of mentoring. No matter what. My mentor helped me put my life back on track when sometimes I thought I was headed for disaster. The second is from a senior boy since 5th grade, with this mentor since 5th grade at Adams, at Baldwin rather. He has given me the strength to achieve what seems just out of reach. Always my favorite quote. And this young man in college still keeps in touch with his mentor, which isn't all that unusual for mentors. And my last is a 2nd grade girl. It's going to be a good day today, Mommy. My mentor is coming. Turn over to Lisa.
Thank you for inviting us tonight. In addition to running the mentoring program, I also co-chair Guilford Day and the Search Institute, which has created the framework that Day uses and the surveys that we administer to our students every 2 years, has a lot of really interesting research, and I love talking about all the details, so if anybody wants to chat later on, I'm more than happy to do that. But I know we're short on time tonight, so I want to stick to the one thing that I really know Guilford Schools does well, and that's that mentoring is a critical intervention for students. There are lots of concrete things that adults can do to help significantly improve the outcome for kids who might otherwise easily get lost. The Search Institute labels the mentoring relationships as developmental relationships, and I put a paper in your packets that outlines the framework. It shows that kids benefit from a significant relationship with a caring adult. They're more likely to work hard both inside and outside of school and to develop a range of social and emotional skills that are essential to success. Kids who have a significant relationship with a caring adult come to school, they do better when they get here, and they see possibilities that they might not otherwise picture for themselves. So how do we make that happen? We try to make sure that each mentor feels as valued as they are, and we try and make sure that nobody ends up getting lost, mentors or kids. The first question is often, how do we find our kids? Usually they're referred by a social worker, sometimes by a teacher or a parent. The research says that that vast middle group of kids are the ones who benefit most from a mentoring relationship. We look for a caring adult who can offer some of the benefits of their life experience, serve as a sounding board, and who just by their presence sends the message that you are important. Once we get that referral, sometimes we have somebody available right away, but most of the time we're out there recruiting. Because it's very, very important to make just the right match. We never just take two people with the same last name, starting with the same letter. It isn't just about finding enough volunteers, it's all about finding just the right person to create a lasting relationship with that child. This is a picture of Ellie Hartman with her mentee. They started in 2nd grade. They continued through graduation and still see each other today, which is very common. After, am I doing anything at all? The next question we most commonly hear is, what do I do if it gets really complicated? Because some mentoring is just hanging out, playing a board game week after week after week, but every now and then, there's big stuff. The answer to that is why the program works so well, because we try and make sure that the mentors never feel alone. Program staff makes ourselves available outside of school hours, and we also have people in each building that make mentoring a priority. So if a mentor has a question that's kind of poking at the back of their mind, there's someone right there that they can talk to before they even leave the building, just to check in, consult with a little bit, and maybe get an answer to whatever their question is. When we're making a match, half of our matches that are here at the high school started in elementary school. For instance, Pete Connell, who's here tonight, started with Tony Dincy in 2nd grade. Pete is our grand mentor because, best of all, Pete and Tony are back together at Melissa Jones again, each of them with a student of their own. Because mentors stick with us for such a long time, it's very important for them to get ongoing consultation and support, additional training, and steady contact so that they can help grow with their mentee. Communication and collaboration with school staff occurs at all levels of the process: referrals, matching, and throughout the development of the relationship. And sometimes when there's closure, because that process can be a really valuable life lesson for kids, and those relationships deserve to be celebrated even as they are ending. Mentors are a great resource for the guidance department's career exploration and for teachers in various subject areas. They're a screened and vetted bank of volunteers who are willing to talk to classes about their careers, meet one-on-one with high school students to explore their interests, particularly in the area of STEM and the arts. And we've also found that high school students who might not otherwise be interested in meeting with a mentor very often will be happy to sit down and talk about future plans and career stuff, and then they can start building that relationship, working on a friendship, and then start talking about all kinds of different subjects. We've had great success introducing those career mentors. This was one of our very early ones. And we're looking to expand that program in cooperation with the school counseling department as we move forward. And next, Simona Nerney is going to talk.
Thank you. As Barb and Lisa mentioned, I'm the third member of the team to come on board. I really do love this program. And what I'm going to do tonight is just kind of expand on what Lisa said and give you an idea of how we operate on a daily basis. Potential mentors come to us recommended by others in the community. They complete an online application and come in for a personal interview, and we perform reference checks and an official background screening. Then they participate in a basic mentor training, which provides them with our guidelines. Mentors are carefully matched with the students that are identified. A mentor profile is set up in our database, and this information is shared with school staff, and permission slips for participation in the program are obtained from families, and then we move on to setting up the weekly meetings. We have regular communication with our mentors through email. We have mentor review meetings at each school, and that's usually 3 or 4 times a year. It's a time to discuss sensitive subjects or transition issues. And our partners, the principals, guidance counselors, social workers, and administrative assistants at each of our schools always attend. Our team is always available for everyday consultation, either by phone or email. We also offer mentor-to-mentor assignments so new mentors can have an experienced mentor to go to. Our team spends valuable time being in touch with social workers and guidance counselors at each school. We provide resource material on our website, including links to important articles, and we plan to build a library at our new office. We offer specialized trainings on various topics of interest, such as understanding the teenage brain, the stages of a mentoring relationship, bullying, and the effects of drug and alcohol use. We follow the best practices of the Connecticut Mentoring Partnership, which is a wonderful resource for us. We celebrate National Mentoring Month in January each year. Our get-together is our chance to recognize and personally say thank you to our mentors, who often go way beyond meeting with their students once per week. They wear many hats, such as serving on our GYM board, our PR marketing committee, writing articles for the Guilford Courier, or running a specialized training session. Our mentors remain engaged and become committed to our sustainability. I'm proud to share some of our few exciting facts about the program with you. We have a 95% mentor retention rate. 99% of our mentors come recommended to us by current mentors or staff members. 65% of our mentoring peers have been together 5 or more years. Last year, we graduated our longest running match of 13 years. That same year, out of our 48 peers at Guilford High School, 24 of them had been together since their elementary years. We've had 12 husband and wife mentoring pairs. Our youngest mentor is 21, and our oldest is 89.
Yeah.
25% of our mentors are Guilford Public School graduates. Typically, we have 25 to 30 requests for mentors each year. This past year, we had an astounding 60, and we answered each request with the same attention, care, and concern that we always have. As Barbara mentioned, the most important recognition we've received is from the staff and administration, who are our most important partners in this mission, and who speak so eloquently of the power and importance of mentoring. I have 3 examples I'd like to share with you tonight. The first is from Bill Grimm, principal at Calvin Leet School. For the students who benefit from having a mentor, I think the program is critical for their intellectual, social, and emotional development. In some cases, the mentor supplements the adult attention that a child receives from family and friends outside of school. In other cases, the mentor may serve as the only consistent adult other than school staff in a child's life. The mentor provides an opportunity for play and conversation. The adults that serve as mentors at Calvin Leet have been caring and reliable, and their service is greatly appreciated. The second is from Paula McCarthy, the principal at Melissa Jones. Just the other day, a student who has not had the best attendance needed to be sent home sick. When the parent came to pick up the child, the parent said, "I told her to stay home, but her mentor was coming and she really wanted to go to school." In this age of data and charts, I think it's also very important to not forget how to make kids feel. Mentoring helps children feel cared for and safe. Mentors help children feel special and a part of the school. Sometimes when I overhear the mentees in the conference room, they are chatting away and sharing all kinds of news. Often, these are the same kids who do not share and talk in class or around others. I think it's about how we make them feel, and mentors make kids feel special. And the third one is from Rick Macenti, our principal here at the high school. I love seeing the mentors coming into this school every day. The value of Guilford Youth Mentoring is immeasurable. Today, approximately 160 mentors devote 6,000 hours annually to the cause of mentoring in the Guilford schools, enriching the lives of their mentees and the schools. In our 15 years, over 500 community mentors have touched the lives of over 600 children, making a significant difference 1 hour at a time and becoming advocates of not only their mentees, but of the Guilford Public Schools. Our current group of mentors includes regular folks from our community, firemen, police officers, the town planner, selectmen, park and rec employees, teachers, engineers, social workers, bankers, nurse practitioners, bakers, coaches, opera singers, financial advisors, insurance brokers, artists, veterinarians, physical therapists, IT professionals, retirees, marketing coordinators, and hopefully after tonight, some Board of Ed members. They're all kind people who can give special attention to a child. The connections we make and the relationships we develop with our volunteers keep us thriving. We have become a family, an integral part of the community committed to our youth. To revisit the words of Liz Mancini, the social worker at Guilford Lake School, everyone does better when they know unconditionally that they matter. And this is what the program does. thank you for having us. If you have any questions or comments for us, we'd be happy to answer them.
Well, I certainly want to thank you on behalf of the board. I know that you've done tremendous work over the years, for 15 years, and Barbara, I'm sure when this started 15 years ago, did you think it was going to go this far, this long, that it worked this well, this many people, this many kids involved, this many adults involved? Probably not, right?
We hoped, but it was a vision. It hadn't been done before in high school, so we didn't know. But it's this community, I have to say, Bill, that really rose to the challenge and just surrounded us with people who would help. If you didn't know how to do something, there was always somebody who would lend you their expertise. And so it's, no, I don't think we thought it would be 15 years, but now I think we feel that it might be another 15 years, another 20.
So I don't think I heard you give your website, did I? I don't recall.
We didn't, but it's it's written in your packets
Well,
on a
but there are
couple
people
of
watching on
papers.
TV, so you might want to,
It's guilfordmentoring.org.
terrific. Question?
It's also on the school website, so you can see Guilford Mentoring Program on the school
Okay, so
website.
guilfordmentoring.org or go to guilfordschools.org and it's linked there, so terrific.
I'm
Question?
curious whether our neighboring schools have a similar program.
Madison had a program for a bit. We consulted.
Barbara, can we ask you to come up?
Sure. Madison consulted with us a number of years ago, and they were trying to set up a program for 4th grade through 6th grade. And they worked with their Youth and Family Services Department, and it didn't, I think it lasted for about a year or so, but it just didn't gel for some reason. Brantford has a very strong program, a very strong mentoring program, basically at the middle and the high school. Very few programs that we know are K through 12. And it's especially difficult to run a mentoring program at a high school unless it's career mentoring. In our DURG, though, there are schools in our DURG area. There are Greenwich, East Greenwich, Cheshire, Granby. I looked up the statistics about a week ago. Fairfield, New Fairfield, South Windsor. West Hartford has a very strong program. Clinton also consulted with us a few years ago, and they still have a viable mentoring program. It's mostly after school, though, which is not quite the same as being integrated into the school day. You don't quite have the power to really be a resource for kids in the same way if you're an after-school program.
Thank you.
Can I suggest, would you make a motion that we, as a board, commend Guilford Youth Mentoring and congratulate them on their 15 years of service?
Yes.
See, chairs can't make a motion. So.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
There's a second.
Terrific. So,
2 seconds.
all in favor of that motion? Aye. Well, again, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much, and keep up the good work for another 15 or more years.
It really is the mentors who hold the
Of
program
course.
together. And if they were all here, they would go out the door. 160.
Well, fortunately, we have a big enough library that we could actually do that.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Mr. Boss, if I make one comment, I mean, for those of us who work in various volunteer organizations, we know that people come to volunteer, do so with great intentions, but sometimes in terms of longevity, it's hard to maintain people. It's really remarkable to hear the length of service that people in this program are providing. And so important for the consistency for the child they're matched to, but for me, that's one of the things that really stands out about your success is the longevity with which you hold on to your mentors and the longevity with which they are providing service to individual kids. It's really commendable.
Couldn't agree with you. And it is the length of those relationships that makes the significance of the difference in kids' lives. I think we're very clear when people come in. We're very clear that if they cannot make a commitment, that this is probably not the program for them, and sometimes we recommend other programs. But we do only ask for a full school year course, we want more, and I think they know that we expect more, but we ask for that commitment. And I think once the mentors have found what it's like working in the schools with all the incredible feedback from staff and the support from staff, they stay. But you're right, a lot of programs have retention difficulties.
And in your presentation, you didn't stress the value to the mentor, and that's probably the reason for the retention. I can only imagine the benefits that the mentors receive from being part of your program.
They tell us that.
I think Reef put it very well. Didn't you once say it was the best part of your week?
And Doug said at one of our parties that it was the best club in town when he met other people who were mentors. So, yeah, we hope that you guys get a lot out of it because it's really important to us.
Thank you again. Terrific.
Thank you.
All right, if we can go back to the agenda, I think we're up to item 5 on the agenda, which is approval of the October 13, 2015 minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second, any discussion? Changes?
I have
Go ahead.
one addition. I'd like to see the names of our student reps in the minutes, if we could, and in the attendance
Oh,
section.
you mean on the top?
And the one we list, yeah.
Yeah,
We've
do
done that in the
right?
past,
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Okay. So the motion's been made and seconded. Any other corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The next minutes are the special meeting, I think, so that would only be people that were at that meeting should vote on that. October 21, 2015, student-related meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then October 26, 2015, motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any changes, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we're up to Dr. Myers. No, I'm sorry, item 6, public forum for topics on the board agenda. We do have some members of the public. Glad to see Suzanne Carlson back with us, by the way.
Yes.
I know that there was a little potential wrinkle about whether Ms. Carlson was going to be here, but we are pleased that she is here, and we will do everything we can to make sure that that can continue. So anybody want to say anything? Okay. Item 7, Dr. Myers.
Going to talk about the finances for the month of October. We went over this extensively in the Operations Committee prior to this meeting, but just to summarize, the expenditures for the month of October were $6,496,235.36, which is 28.14% of the budget compared to last year, which was 28.27% of the budget, so it's a little lower. Most of the warrants, most of the bills were routine. Those that were different, we discussed extensively, and there were no big surprises. If anybody has any questions, I move that we approve them.
Okay, motion's been made. Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. 8, communications. I know there have been a couple of things. Dr. Balistraci? did you-
Yes, I had a communication from someone with questions and just some concern about how space might be rented, the Performing Arts Center might be rented out to organizations who would like to use it. I talked to Dr. Freeman a little bit, and I believe the Policy Committee is going to receive some information from Guilford High School administration on that issue for us to talk about and address.
Okay. Other communications? Anybody? Okay. Student reps we've already done, and Dr. Keene and Mr. Bowden are covering for Dr. Freeman tonight. We've already done 10.1, so budget process and anything else you'd like to bring up?
Mr. Bowden, it's all yours.
We are currently in the early part of our budget build process right now. Linda Jadot is working diligently at preparing all the various things that go into our budget. We just have received the submissions from department heads and building principals this past week. So in the next few weeks, we'll be taking those into the formal review process with each of the principals. Dr. Keene, Dr. Freeman, myself, and Mrs. Trudell will be meeting with the various department heads and principals to review their budget requests and begin to see what makes the preliminary input into the budget and what does not at this point in time. That will take us through roughly mid-December, in which time Dr. Freeman will work with the business office in refining the budget with every intention of getting it to the Board of Education at the January 4th date, at the turn of the new year. I would also add that the Board of Education, as you know, will be meeting with the Board of Finance in late December to talk about where we are with the budget and to get some input in from the Board of Finance.
Do you have a date for that?
Yes, that is on December 21st would be our first meeting with them.
Thanks.
And I would also like to point out for the community that January 11th will be a key date because at the Board of Education regular meeting, that's when Dr. Freeman will be presenting his budget to the community at that time. And that's where we are.
Okay. We did meet, I guess we should note that we did meet with the members of the leadership team 2 weeks ago to get some thoughts about what they viewed as priorities. I think I've always liked that meeting actually very much. You know, it's a very good time to get some informal input in what they consider important, and I think it's valuable for you to maybe hear that too in a little bit different setting.
As was the October 28th meeting with the public.
Public, yeah, sure. And just so that I probably, not surprisingly, the most questions I've had lately relate to the school start times. Can you just give us an update on?
Sure.
This is not an issue that has fallen off of our radar by any stretch of the imagination, but I think maybe we should just update us on where we are.
Sure. As Dr. Freeman said at the last Board of Ed meeting, we had a slight delay with some unfortunate circumstances related to our transportation coordinators passing. We were in a period of transition for a while, but we've re-engaged in the process with the bus company and our new transportation coordinator, Mr. Dorwin, to work with the District Management Council on the requests that they had put in place for what they needed for their report. That has all been completed. Dr. Freeman and I have a conference call with the District Management Council next week to talk about what their initial findings are, and it is our hope that the board will receive the full report from the District Management Council as early as next meeting or into the December meeting. But the report will be finalized within the next few weeks.
Okay. Well, let's budget issues aside, we need to make sure we build in enough time for public consideration of what the
Absolutely.
alternatives are.
And speaking with Dr. Freeman today, he's certainly aware of the timeline that we're under, and he spoke of certainly the number of surveys that need to go out and the public informational meetings and forums that he would have to be scheduling within the next few months. So he wanted me to convey that has not been forgotten, and indeed will be posted on the website and presented at these meetings as well.
Terrific. Anything else from the administration?
It's all budget.
That's it, yeah. Is that true, Dr. Keene?
No,
From the assistant superintendent's point of view, it may be all budget, but there are a couple of other things happening. Questions for the administration? Anybody?
I assume that at the next Board of Ed meeting, the workshop, that we'll have a chance to talk about the Baldwin Middle School schedule.
that will be scheduled for the January meeting of the curriculum and instruction.
Okay.
And along with some of the other scheduling issues that we hope to present, and I know we wanted to follow up with the high school scheduling and the course catalog and all those things. So we're having a whole scheduling workshop in January for that. I might add that when Greg mentioned the IB visit, you might be interested in knowing that we met with our consultant for the first time last week. Basically, she was from Toronto, Canada, and she had been an IB coordinator and is now a consultant with IB who actually helps support schools who are in the application process. So she met with students, with staff, with administration at the district and at the school level, just to ask us some questions that would mirror what the application interviews would actually look like and feel like a year from now. It was very impressive, I think, and she came away saying this felt like an IB school. And so my response was, well, what does that feel like? and she just talked about, how positive and how enthusiastic the staff members were and the students were, and just felt like this would, it felt good to her. And she said, I've done a lot of these. So I know Greg alluded to the visit, but that's what it was about. It was a series of meetings and interviews with all different folks from the school, just to see, is this something that they could support really going forward? And I think it came out very positive. So there is some instruction stuff going on, not just budget. Although it may have budget implications.
Okay. We're up to the board agenda. 11.1 is to act on a personnel item, specifically to ratify the appointment of Stephanie Jackson as a social studies teacher here at Guilford High School effective November 30th, 2015. So she's not here yet, I take it. Okay. Is there a motion that we ratify that appointment?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. 11.2 is to appoint a Board of Ed member to the Learn Board of Directors. We put that out last meeting, and Dr. Moore has indicated that he would be interested and would be available. So if there is concurrence from the rest of the board, I would appoint Dr. Moore as the representative to Learn. Is that all right with everybody?
That is great.
Yeah,
That's
great
Thank
idea.
you.
Thanks,
You weren't
Chris.
overwhelmed with emails?
Had to draw straws, there was a long line, but you got there first, so.
Yeah, I mentioned I actually won't be able to make the first meeting this week, but after that I should be able to schedule it so I can make it.
And I think this is the kind of thing that if other people want to go, I think they would be more than happy to have other people there. So, feel free to join Dr. Moore. But, no, I think that's terrific. That's been a good resource for us. 11.3 is to appoint members to the Facility Naming Committee. This, as you will recall, has to do with a request that we got from a community member and a member of Park and Rec, I believe, to name the baseball field, and then in a not wholly, it was coincidental, but I thought not in a timely issue that we have to decide what to do about the gym at this building, because the old gym at the old high school, which not much is left of at the moment from what I saw driving in here this evening, was the Judge James Kennefic Gym. And so we have to decide if that carries over to this gym or something else. So Dr. Freeman has talked to 8 people, one of whom is Ms. Sullivan, representing our board, Mr. Masseni, Jake Jarvis, Rick Maynard, Paul Schmidt, Doug Danaher, who is a parent, and Cole Horton, who is a high school student, to see about naming the baseball field. So is there any other thought or any other people that think we ought to suggest? But in the absence of anybody else, I would just go ahead and appoint those, and we will await a report from them in due course. Okay? All right.
Thank you. Thanks, Ellen.
Yes, thank you for doing that. That's, is that a particular interest of yours, or just?
Just might as well do it.
It's a good principle. Take notes there. Let's call it. School calendar draft. We are receiving tonight a draft school calendar. We do not have to vote on this tonight, obviously, and can't vote on it tonight. One up in the air issue still is what about Veterans Day? That is marked as a holiday on this calendar. I know Dr. Freeman is meeting with members of various veterans groups in town to see what their thoughts are, and we will take those comments into account, I think, as we move forward. This would go back to the tradition of starting before Labor Day. Interestingly, would end by, in the absence of snow, would end by the middle of June, right?
Yep.
2 weeks into June, which is,
Nice.
that's not bad.
We start on a Wednesday, which is unusual.
Yeah,
That was- Yeah, which I actually like. I always thought that having it just the 2 days before the long weekend sort of gave the kids a start and a stop and a start, so I think that's
Just,
good.
this is following the regional calendar.
Oh, is that? Oh, good.
And so there is some limited flexibility. In 2017, we will be obligated to follow the regional calendar, but it's optional. So we are pretty much trying to go along with it to the extent practical.
So is Veterans Day on the regional calendar or not?
I'm not sure about that holiday because it is, I don't think it is. Some schools do it and some don't. There are some flexibilities within the regional calendar. I do want to point out that the 8th, Election Day, the students will not be in school on that day, and that will be the presidential election.
right.
So that will also help with voting in our buildings, since there will be no school on that day. But I'd have to, wait a minute, I can tell you if I've got the regional calendar here. Yes, it is on the regional calendar, but those are for your consideration. There are other things that we take that aren't on the regional calendar, like some of the Jewish holidays are not on the regional calendar.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of
So
flexibility.
you do
there.
have some
Okay.
flexibility within that. Pretty much the start time, end time, regular vacation times,
So the regional calendar does away with a full week in February?
yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
And actually for 2017, it's, the week in April is attached to Good Friday, so that also eliminates another extra day off, which is nice.
And last year, we reinstated, or this year, right? The day before Thanksgiving.
Half day.
And
They do not.
It's one
The
day.
regional calendar does not do that.
does not do that. Because
we
we've
can
had
do
it
this also.
off for a number of years at least. Okay.
So
So-
what would be helpful for us maybe next month is to actually see what the regional calendar is and see what flexibility we're allowed under the regional
Right.
calendar,
To
right?
save us from discussion that,
Maybe we
right, we're
need
ready
not
to
have.
moved, right.
I can actually send that to you tomorrow.
Yeah,
So you can
Okay.
have
that'd be
a
great.
copy of the
Terrific.
calendar.
Good.
And, but do note that we do have an early dismissal for students on the 23rd.
Right, yeah.
of
Oh, no, absolutely.
November.
Yep,
Okay. All right, that's,
okay.
we'll get that then down for next month. We also have got two just receive items, which are a proposed meeting calendar for the Board of Ed for 2016. I think there was one correction made on that already,
Yep.
November 28th instead of November 21st. And then the committee meetings also. And again, just received tonight. I usually, it's followed a pretty consistent pattern for the last some number of years. We do need to appoint and/or reappoint committee members. We don't need to do that tonight. I just propose carrying forward current committee assignments at least until next month. And Ms. Cohen, well, you just let me know what you want to do, and we'll figure it out. And then-
I will note that the policy committee with Barbara's ending her time on the board then only has 2 members. So
Okay.
we could use a third, whether that's Christine or someone else who would like to join us, or more.
Right.
But I think probably more than 2 would be a good move.
Well, there may be people that want to move off of one committee and onto
Just throwing
policy
it out
or
there.
something else. But I think just let me know what your preference would be, and we'll continue it moving forward until the December meeting, and then we'll just do formal reappointments then. And then we do have, speaking of policy, we do have
Yes.
some exhibits. 11.7 is to act on recommendations relating to the concussion policy.
That's right. This is a policy and regulation we brought to the board as a receive item last month. It is a new policy and a new regulation, although Guilford Public Schools and specifically Guilford High School has been doing concussion management for several years already and has really been ahead of the curve in terms of kind of the rigorous nature in which we do baseline impact testing on kids and then manage concussion concerns. So again, the first thing before you is the policy. It's a one-page policy. I don't know if people have questions on it, concerns, anything. Again, as Mr. Bowden presented last month, Mr. Jarvis and Carol Ott have both been involved in making sure that all of this is part of what we do.
Okay, are there questions on this or comments? All right, is that a
Okay, make a
motion that we?
motion
Yep.
to accept the policy?
Okay.
I'll second.
Any other? Yes, go ahead.
I have, are we just talking about the policy? or-
Just the
Policy
at the
first.
moment.
Okay.
Never mind?
Never mind.
All right, so all in favor of the motion that we ratify or adopt a new policy 5446 on student sports concussions?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Okay?
regulation.
The regulation
You have a
is
comment there.
next, right?
All right.
Again, presented to you last month. It goes into a little more detail. But again, this is all new. The CABE was very helpful in terms of providing us with different possibilities and alternatives for language. And this is the regulation that we landed on.
Your
Dr.
question.
Morris, did you have a question?
Okay, my question is that in a couple places, it talks about a athlete can't go back to play unless we receive written clearance from a licensed healthcare professional trained in the evaluation and management of concussions.
Yes.
Now, how does the school decide who has been trained in that field? In the previous, it was a licensed medical clinician. So how are we going to decide from the doctors, nurse practitioners, whether that individual is trained in this? I think it's a good idea to have doctors who are trained in this, but how do we decide?
And how do you require a family to use a doctor that's not their own provider,
Right, that's the corollary.
right?
Right.
Well, presumably, I suppose the medical provider would not make the certification if he or she did not feel qualified. I should not assume.
I should not assume.
Don't go there.
It's a good question. I have to say, it did not come up in any of our policy meetings.
Yeah, we didn't discuss that.
Trained was part of the CABE language, was it, Jason? Yes.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't raised at the
Yeah.
policy
Never raised it.
But Amy
meetings.
raises a good
There are
point. I mean,
a
now
few
we're talking about
certifications, right?
having somebody who's not the
Neurologists
family
can be
physician.
Well,
certified.
yeah, but
No,
we're
not
not going to
necessarily
send
not the
every
family.
kid to a neurologist.
Right.
Right.
So, most kids will be seeing their primary care doctor, who is a family physician, a nurse practitioner, or a pediatrician.
Internist,
Well, usually not an internist. But, is the school system going to decide that Dr. A has been trained well and Dr. B has not? I think that opens a can of worms that I'm not sure we want to go there. So.
How would you ever keep track? I mean, how would we keep track
Right.
of that? There's a sizable amount of practitioners in Connecticut.
What was the other, what was the language in the old policy?
There was not an old
This is-
policy.
no,
This
Oh,
is
I mean,
new.
with the other that we were talking about, the licensed clinician?
It was a licensed clinician.
But that's incorporated into this, right?
Yes,
Yes.
but this adds the qualification that says trained in the evaluation.
Well,
We could simply amend it by deleting that phrase in D4.
It appears in other places also.
Yeah.
I think the quandary, Dr. Myers, that CABE has faced in the past is that there have been cases where within some school systems where a doctor on site, say at a football game, has deemed someone ineligible to play, and a family goes out and gets another medical opinion from somebody that may or may not be informed in that particular area, but signs off on it, certifies that the student's okay, and it places physician against physician at that point. So I think they were looking to avoid that somehow.
But also, I'm not a lawyer,
Still,
but
how do you-
if we have this as a policy,
It's a right.
and if Dr. A says this child can go back, isn't the onus on this board to decide whether Dr. A has been trained in this area?
If it's the way this is written.
The way this is
Right, I
written.
understand the nature of the question.
No, I think that's a valid point. I'd rather see it deleted wherever it appears, because it's not something the Board of Ed should be deciding.
I do have a question though, so on, sorry, on the third page, return to participation. The third sentence on the last paragraph, Connecticut law now requires that no athlete may resume participation until they've received written medical clearance from a licensed healthcare professional trained in the evaluation and management of concussions.
What's the statutory reference?
Let's go to,
We'll define trained in, I mean, trained is, I went to medical school, trained is, I'm a pediatrician who stays up on my.
the point is
If it's
that,
a
that the
law.
language may be, not up to us. Sorry, Bill.
I don't see statutes though.
Why is it-
Public Act 1466.
I'd have to go back and look into the statute.
But why don't we even have the reference here? That's all.
Well, and I'm having,
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Public Act, number 1466, an act concerning student athletes and concussions.
you know, we're
The
violating our
lawyers look at the
rule
same. I did have one other
Yeah.
question.
about negotiating language in a policy in a meeting, you know, that's
Right.
almost never a good idea.
Maybe we can,
And
maybe we
should we-
should defer.
Yeah,
this.
why
Should we
don't we
defer
table
this?
it?
Yeah, why don't we
And-
just do that? And let's
We
take a
do
look at
have,
the
we do have a
statutory.
policy meeting, committee
2
meeting in
weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
So let's, the policy committee will review that question, which is a very good one. And
But if that's what
then-
the statutory language is, then, I mean, it does seem like odd statutory language, doesn't it? Because, you know, we're not in a position.
It's just an enforcement, how do you enforce that? I mean,
Yeah, that's,
I mean, it strikes me that probably what they meant to do is they meant to say that if a board gets a report from somebody who is licensed and capable, theoretically under the terms of his or her license, to make that finding,
then that's acceptable.
that's what, yeah.
But
I mean, what
this-
are we
I do,
supposed to
I do think it
Right.
speaks to a concern that a parent or a child very eager to return to play
Yeah.
Right.
may get a family member who is also a physician, get
yeah.
someone with a medical degree to sign them on. And I do believe that
You
part of
think
the
that that-
language is trying to prevent that from happening for the sake of the safety of the
I
child.
mean, it kind of puts the onus on the healthcare professional in a way.
Right,
It
and the
protects the board
parent.
in the sense that if something goes bad and you say, well.
That's right.
You need
That's
to
right.
tell us what your training was.
So I really think that that was the impetus here,
Right.
to make sure that the safety of the child is prominent.
Well, you know, we might also want to raise this with either Mr. Samaruga or one of the people at Shipman and Goodwin that give
Yeah.
us some legal advice on these kinds of things. This
good.
might not be I mean, this is important enough that we ought to
Right.
make sure we're
No,
doing it
that's
the right
right.
way.
very.
Okay, so we'll table that and carry it over to
Terrific, and we'll take it to the
I
policy.
might add
the
that I
policy
heard
meeting
on the
in 2 weeks.
news today that a few legislators in the federal government have introduced
So we'll approve the
legislation
I mean,
for their
the policy
consideration
table.
about concussions, but that's on a national level.
And this may not be policy level, but do we keep data on this? I mean, it'd be really interesting to kind of know year over year.
We're gonna have to now, isn't
No,
it?
that's
Is that
the
part of
new-
the
that's the new
legislation?
Boards of Ed have to be
Yes,
updated every year on the amount.
yeah.
Okay, this will be interesting to see. I didn't see it in the policy.
I heard on that news account that there were 12 students this year so far who have died as a result of concussions in high school students.
Okay.
All right. So
Thank you.
We'll take care of that next month. Next page, we are up to committee reports. Anything policy committee?
Nothing more. Again, we meet in 2 weeks.
Operations committee?
Yeah, a couple things. We had a presentation from Melissa Jones School. They're rebuilding that fantastic playground up there. And they're looking to raise a significant amount of money and also to make it a community effort in terms of getting a lot of volunteer help. I understand they have a website. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure people can find it if they're interested. And we've also started talking about, in addition to the operating budget, we've started talking about capital projects coming up and what's important and how we'd like to structure those. So more to come on that.
And we did get some good news on our health insurance line.
Mm-hmm. Yep, continues the
month.
favorable trend, yeah.
Okay. Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Committee, we did meet last week or week before?
weeks
Last
ago.
week. 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks
Okay.
ago.
Talked about foreign language in particular, and a couple of other issues. And we will be doing scheduling
In January.
Okay. High School Building Committee liaison, Mr. Vicente sent out a photograph that the bus loop is at least looking a little bit like a bus loop.
Coming around.
Is there?
No pun intended.
Yeah, yeah. Not much of one given. But, yeah, right. Is everything still on track for pre-holiday or around the holidays getting the bus loop open?
I believe so. I haven't heard anything to the contrary on that. So
Okay.
we're staying optimistic.
Okay. Anything else with the building that we should talk about, that we should know about? Okay. Town committee liaisons, anything going on?
The Land Acquisition Committee met and did not discuss anything relevant to Board of Education.
Okay.
And the Health and Wellbeing Committee is meeting December 2nd.
December 2nd, I think.
Okay. Anything on pension, Mr. Sands, or anything going on there?
No good news, given what's happened in the market, but hopefully things will improve.
Okay.
There is an
Yes.
ad hoc transportation committee. Amy and I met, went over one appeal to change a bus stop, and made a decision and moved on.
Okay. All right. Public questions? Anybody have any questions? Anybody here? Comments? Okay. All right, then is that it? Do we have something else?
No.
Yeah, don't get used to this.
Yeah, right.
It gets worse before it gets better.
Well, I think having
Always a
Mrs.
good
Cohen
idea
here
to
has
have dinner
speeded
before
things up tremendously.
Budget season is a bit of a shock to the system, but
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you very much.